Welcome to Shah's IAS Institute, taking a look at current affairs for 5th October 2016. Looking at the news section first. The editorial and question banks are uploaded in a separate video. You can look at that as well. The 9 news items which we have picked up for today from the Hindu newspaper are: first, new regime at RBI debuts with rate cut. New regime here means not just the new governor, RBI Governor Urjit Patel, but also from now on the repo rate will be decided by the Monetary Policy Committee MPC, which has been set up. So that will decide. Till before that, the RBI Governor alone decided the monetary policy within the RBI. So that is, we'll see repo rate cut. The next news is about NPA situation to be dealt with firmness and pragmatism. NPA means non-performing assets. Non-performing assets with banks in India have increased drastically, more so with public sector banks. Non-performing assets basically means that loans which people have taken from the banks are not being repaid. So the interest amount and the principal amount of the loan is not repaid. So this becomes, loans are basically an asset for the bank because they will be repaid at some point of time. When they stop performing, they are non-performing assets. They become a burden. So what should be done with that? So the RBI governor is speaking about that. We'll see. Next news item is about Kaveri board formation put off. Supreme Court gives nod for technical team. Kaveri Management Board, which was required to be set up under the decision of the Kaveri Water Dispute Tribunal, had not been set up since years. That was in 2008-9. So now the Supreme Court had asked the centre to form this Kaveri Management Board, which will comprise of members from all 4 states having the Kaveri basin that within their territory, that is Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Kerala and Pondicherry or Puducherry. So this Kaveri Management Board should be set up is the call of the Supreme Court. Yesterday we saw 4th October that the centre now says that the Supreme Court has no domain to ask the centre, no jurisdiction to ask the centre to implement the actions under the tribunal. So tribunal laws do not allow Supreme Court to intervene. Now the Supreme Court has also come a notch lower and it says, okay, that for Kaveri Management Board formation has been put off, is signed, is alright. What the centre has suggested is a technical team will be sent, comprising of the same representatives from these 4 states having Kaveri basin, and it will study the matter and give its report, and centre will put that report in front of the Supreme Court. So Supreme Court has now given a nod for this technical team. Next news item is about SAARC business card project in limbo. So India had decided to give SAARC business cards, issue these cards to businessmen from these SAARC countries at the Islamabad summit in November 2016. We now know India is not going to participate in the summit, and neither this business card project will go ahead because this project would give businessmen these business cards which would be allowing them free entry within the SAARC territories, means entire 8 SAARC countries: India, Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, Sri Lanka and Maldives. So that will not be done for now, it has been suspended. Next is Aadhaar must for LPG subsidy after November. Aadhaar has been made compulsory. This has been made compulsory, had been made compulsory by the former government earlier too, but the judiciary had struck it down because there was no legislation mandating it. So, now the government has passed the legislation. Aadhaar Act has been passed. It was passed by Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha in March 2016. So now under this act, government now has made LPG subsidy will be given only if you have the Aadhaar number and linked to the subsidy bank account. So after November, this will be implemented. This will also not be implemented in 3 states, Jammu and Kashmir, Assam and Meghalaya, because here the Aadhaar enrollments have not taken place to that extent. In Assam, Meghalaya, it is nearly 2-3% of the population which has implemented or enrolled for Aadhaar. So these 3 states have presently been excluded. Next is Singapore PM visits India. We'll discuss that. SEBI to audit its governance standards. So SEBI is doing its self-audit. So it's looking at governance standards which it calls all companies to adhere to, whether it itself can enforce them or not. So SEBI chairman says we are going to do an audit ourselves now. Then these are external auditors, of course. The first LEGO lab outside USA may come up in Maharashtra's Hingoli. LEGO is laser interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory. So these are have been built in USA, observatories, and these are there along the west coast and east coast of USA. There is a Virgo similar interferometer, laser interferometer, even in Europe, in Italy. So this is will be another form of another interferometer, and it is from LIGO, means we have collaborated with USA. Even the LIGO project is a collaboration. Even Indian scientists are involved in these LIGO observatories in USA. So now one more will be set up in India, in Maharashtra, in Hingoli district. So this is to have it in varied places so that better detection of these gravitational waves can take place. What are gravitational waves also? These come up when two black holes collide. So this is as per the Einstein's theory of relativity to E is equals to mc square. E is energy, so mass, m is mass, c is a constant. So mass is converted into energy. So that was the Einstein's theory of relativity. So when mass disappears, energy is generated. So when black holes collide, some mass disappeared, energy waves are formed. These are called gravitational waves, which can be detected on the earth as well many billions of years later. So this gravitational waves are detected by minute variations in the waves which are detected in these laser interferometers. So these will be set up in varied locations all across the world so that there is better detection of these gravitational waves. That's why one in India, one in USA, Europe, in India, like that. Then the last news item is about Nobel Prize in Physics, which has been announced presently. This we'll discuss in detail. Right, so going ahead, the first news item we see repo rate. Repo rate has been reduced by 25 basis points. Now it is 6.25%. Repo rate. REPO. Repo means repurchasing option. So repurchase option. What is this repurchase? This happens through government securities. Means purchasing and repurchasing is of government securities. And government securities can be sold and purchased by banks only. Individuals cannot hold them. So these banks, what happens is, and repo and another term you must have heard of is reverse repo. So they are in tandem with each other. We'll discuss them. They are for short-term monetary requirements. So when banks have short-term monetary requirements, means in few days it will be returned. So in such cases, banks can borrow, means in day-to-day operations, when banks feel they need money to be taken from RBI, so they can purchase from the RBI. Remember, for long-term loans, there's a different rate, that is bank rate, that is completely different. This is only for short-term. So repo rate means RBI will give money to the banks, which will be like a loan. It will be as against government securities which banks will give to RBI, which they will promise to repurchase later in few days. So that is repo rate. Repo rate as such is the interest rate on this. So interest rate for that has been reduced, means it will be cheaper for banks to take money from the RBI, means it is increasing a liquidity in the market. So inflation, it is not actually, inflation is all right. That's what it says, that inflation rates have dropped in few months. So inflation is not being controlled, but economy has to move. For that, some amount of liquidity is required in the market. So that's why for giving a boost to the economy, repo rate has been reduced. And reverse repo rate is ulta. Now the RBI will repurchase the government securities from the banks, which it has given to the banks presently, and taking money from them. Right. So that is repo and reverse repo rate. Going ahead, so repo rate has been reducing over this period of time, 7.75. Every time 0.25 basis points have been reduced till the latest one since 2015. So it's following the same trend. NPA situation to be dealt with firmness and pragmatism. We discussed NPA. One point to remember here, it says just 5 sectors contribute to 61% of the stressed assets of the banking sector. That is infrastructure, steel, textiles, power and telecom. And when the bank reduces rates, like the rate cut which has happened right now too, the banks should also pass over these reduction in interest rates to the consumers, to the people. That is not happening. So RBI says that that is happening in the new loans being given. So that is also, we should deal with pragmatism, means practicality and firmness. So we should be firm as well as practical. We can't put too much pressure on the banks. Next, Kaveri board formation, I think we have discussed, so you've understood that. SAG business card also we have discussed, that is fine, nothing much in that. Then Aadhaar also, there's nothing much. As I said, Assam, Meghalaya, Jammu and Kashmir are exempted. Assam, Meghalaya more so because BJP government says that Assam has had and Meghalaya they have had Congress government for more than a decade. So they're saying Congress is not taking sincere action under the Aadhaar and enrolling people for it. So they're blaming the state governments. Singapore PM visit, again nothing much. India-Singapore strategic partnership has been enhanced. There have been agreements on cyber security. 3 MOUs have been signed on people-to-people contact, in industrial property, in establishment of Northeast Skills Center in Guwahati and Skill Development Center. So there's more with respect to Make in India and Skills India program that Singapore is assisting us. Then next news item about SEBI to audit its governance standards. So it has set up an external audit team. Performance audit will be done on it, and it has also called for having one woman member in its board. It has asked the finance minister to take action on this because this is also mandated by the SEBI to other boards in companies. So it's asking for itself to follow those same words which it preaches. The last two news items related to S&T are important. First one is about LIGO that we discussed. I will show you the details about this. See, this is the Gravitational Wave Observatory. It happens through this. So it says not much area is required for it, is what is said. 4-kilometer tunnels are made perpendicular to each other, and there's a laser source here. This laser source will deflect the beam, means the beam is split, laser beam, and one goes here, reflects on the mirror, the other one goes straight, reflects on the mirror, and this is the detector. So the detector detects both the laser beams. If there is a difference, a very minute difference in the arrival time of these two laser beams, then it shows that a gravitational wave has been detected, because that results in varying this time frame. So that is how gravitational waves are detected. It's a very minute difference in the arrival of the two waves. So that is this. This is Albert Einstein's theory of relativity. The last news item about Nobel Prize in Physics, we'll discuss in detail. It has been awarded for theoretical discoveries of topological phase transitions and topological phases of matter. This is the statement given. Understanding this, I will explain. Now first is topological phase transition. Now what are these phases? Phases, to simply understand it, understand the 3 phases of matter: solid, liquid and gas. We know about these, but this is not it. There are many other phases in between in a matter, from solid to gas and beyond that too. You hear of terms like superconductivity, supermagnetism. All these are associated with this theoretical discovery. So this theoretical discovery had many practical applications. The most advanced being about quantum computing, which is still theoretical, which will come into effect, and we'll have quantum computers which will be super fast computers. So this theoretical discovery has been awarded. This had been made decades ago, 2-3 decades. After that, you actually get a Nobel Prize. So this has been awarded. Now what is it talking about is phase transition. So how phase transitions takes place, means how from one phase to another. There are multiple phases in between. So how that phase transition takes place, and these various phases of matter, they are studied through topology. So common term here is topology. Even amongst the 3 researchers who have been awarded Nobel Prize for Physics this year are also topologists. So understanding what is topology, it states here, see, the topology is the study of geometric properties of the medium in question. So topology is used in various fields. It is here used to understand a particular property of a matter. This topology term had also been explained by a member of the Nobel Committee. He gave this presentation. He showed topology with giving an example of a bun, bagel and pretzel, which having 0, 1 and 2 holes. So these number of holes are called topological invariants. They will not change for a particular matter, no matter how much you stretch and try to deform it. It's considered like a rubber which has been trying to be deformed. Then next he spoke about the topological changes take place in integer numbers only. This has been done through research. The conductivity. This conductivity increases as the topological invariant increases. So more the number of holes, more the conductivity.